County's local television network, TSPN. And now, TSPN News with Tom Slivick. Comprehensive news because in today's world, you need more than just sound bites. TSPN, streaming on the World Wide Web, and now on demand at tspntv.com. Hi everyone, I'm Tom Slivick and welcome to TSPN for today. Tomorrow is a Board of Supervisors meeting and we're lucky to have Supervisor Richard Forstor come by and he's going to bring us up to speed.
Hi Tom.
Good to see you, Richard.
How are you today?
Good. And I understand it's not the big of an agenda, but it's probably an important one, so stay with us. We're going to be back right after this break on TSPN. You're watching Amador County's #1 news and sports leader, TSPN. Hi everyone, we're back, and like I said, we have Richard Forstor with us. Richard Forstor, what's on the agenda tomorrow?
Yeah, not a long agenda, Tom. It's one of those meetings that you never know if it's going to last 2 hours or 4 hours. But first up, should be very quick, the appointment of the Amador Water Agency members. These are three directors on the Amador Water Agency that were elected without opposition. Right. Paul Molinelli Sr., Robert Manacero, and Arthur Toy. So it's our job from the board just to confirm that. The one thing I didn't like when I looked at this is it says Amador Water Agency election of board members, and it lists District 1 as Jackson area, District 2 Carbondale, Lake Comanche, and Amador City. They kind of left out one piece of it there in listing Ione, the biggest city in the district. So anyway, it's our job just to confirm these appointments and that certification of the appointment of those that were elected. So
would that just be because Ione basically has maybe their own sewage and things like that they might have left it off? Or?
No, because they have City of Plymouth here, they have City of Cedar Creek on there, so somebody had an oversight on that. But it doesn't affect the certification of the election. So those gentlemen will, their elections will be certified. Then we'll go on to the discussion of the Amador Economic Development Corporation. As you know, they came in asking for $10,000 to go towards the county's contribution. They actually want the county to be a partner, but this will go towards the county's contribution towards the Amador Economic Development Partnership. And this partnership will be looked at spending $10,000 to hire Dr. Robert Fountain, who we talked about previously, is a pretty well-known economist who does work now out of the Bay Area, but has very good credentials in this field. The fund specifically will be for the promotion of social and economic welfare for all of the citizens of Amador County. So I think there's merit in our board's.
Any examples of how something like that would work at all? I mean, it's hard for, it's very esoteric to me.
There's two phases here. There's the first phase would be to create an economic impact measurement for projects in Amador County. We'll do that by doing an economic analysis that quantifies the overall structure of the economy in the county. And with that, you're going to use what they call IM-Plan. That's IM Plan, Economic Input Output Model. And a benefit from that is that computer model that's put together will stay with the Business Council when Dr. Fountain is done with the study. So that $820 would go specifically to create a model from that MIG Incorporated at $820. That would stay with the county. That was
so
number
this is
one.
where they get input from different businesses of how they're doing, or is that what that does?
I think it's not just businesses. It's overall in the county. Whatever is in our local economy, whether it be business or nonprofits. I mean, you got to take all that into account.
Are some of the questions like I'm asking, some of the questions that will be answered at the board meeting?
I think so, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, the second point they'll be looking at is quantification of the transportation sector and the transportation use of other economic sectors. This is kind of a prelude to what's going to happen. Some of these in Phase 1 are a prelude to what's going to happen in Phase 2. Our board is not committing any funding towards Phase 2, but in Phase 2, they're actually going to go into the Caltrans model and look at specific how transportation correlates with the economy and with businesses and making money for them. And specifically, I think they're going to look at what transportation improvements are the best for business in the county. But that's phase two. We're not through with phase one yet. The third part of that is analysis which identifies opportunities to economic development activities in the desired economic benefits. The 4 is provide analysis of hypothetical development scenarios to illustrate the functions of the model and the applications. Now, this sounds very technical. This you can imagine. I mean, for $10,000, you're hiring a person who is an expert in this field. And number 5 is create a preliminary process for integrating transportation benefits computed by the Caltrans return on investment model and demonstrate the scenarios using a hypothetical transportation project. Now, all of that will provide the framework to go into phase 2 and to do the work there.
Okay, but you're basically looking at just getting the information and getting that that part put together. Do they have examples of where other cities, the counties have used this model?
I think Dr. Fountain has done this in various areas. He can speak to that tomorrow. I think San Joaquin was one area where he may have done that, okay. But there's also other areas.
Because it's very interesting, but very, like I said, it's
technical, but I think he's going to break it down so that the layperson can understand it, so you and I can understand it. Phase 2, by the way, would provide a process for linking the economic model, which was created in phase 1, with transportation benefits identified in the outputs of that Caltrans return on investment model. So you're linking the two so that you can combine the economic and the transportation, look at the benefits, and look at where is your return on investment going to be the best.
Now, after you do this, will he be working for, in a sense, like the board, or will he be working for the Economic Development Corp?
Well, that's the interesting part. If the Board of Supervisors decides to become a partner within that Economic Development Partnership Committee, and I think that's what the Business Council wants, is for us to appoint a person to serve on that partnership committee. According to our county council, that's fine to do that. There are other areas like San Joaquin County where that exists right now.
Okay.
So it'll be an interesting discussion. Next up, we'll have Shelley Hansen from ATCA, Amador County Community Action Agency. This is discussion regarding a $16,000 allocation that's budgeted every year to go to ATCA. We have a lot that happened with Amador and Tuolumne County jointly.
Right.
There's a lot of benefits here. There was a little bit of an issue this year with ATCA that what's the most pleasant way to say this, that there wasn't proper oversight over some of their personnel working for ATCA. Now, I'll say it was confined to Amador County, not to Tuolumne County, but that may come into this discussion tomorrow. If the county is going to fund especially a large amount like this, but any amount of money to an organization, there should be proper oversight there. And what happened with ATCA, there was some internal friction that was created because of that, and some personnel left ATCA and formed their own organization. So I think
this isn't about who's under the umbrella. The umbrella is ATCA,
right,
and the
correct.
Other groups underneath is this is concerning
no,
the umbrella.
The other groups, the group that spun off, is not under ATCA.
No, I just meant whoever ATCA has, whatever groups they work with. Those groups aren't seen as not performing or something. Right?
No,
it's the umbrella group.
The issue was internal within the ATCA structure. So there'll be, I'm sure that'll play a part in this discussion tomorrow. It has to, in my mind. We have 2 supervisors that sit on that board, and the internal structure of ATCA should be such that the boards of supervisors from Tuolumne and Amador County are the ones that are the guiding board, not the board that's created by appointments by ATCA, and you can't just pick and choose who you want on these boards. I mean, that's not the way you get a good board that's going to provide sight.
Okay.
So I'm sure all of that will enter into this discussion. this could be one of those
Okay.
discussions that ends up taking a little bit of time.
All right.
So, next up, we have ongoing discussion of the contract with Fontaine's Auction Gallery for the sale of the Rab Collins estate.
Chairs?
This is it. That's the name, Fontaine's Auction Gallery. Our consultant, Linda Hawthorne, was hesitant to give us that name last time because she, rightly so, she's done a lot of work on this so far without payment. And if I was in her position, I would want to make sure I was guaranteed some payment at the end. So
Okay.
this is actually putting the contract together for signature by our Board of Supervisors chairperson, Ted Novelli, and it talks about insurance. I have a question there. I'm not quite sure what it says, that once it's picked up by Fontaine's Auction Gallery, Chubb Insurance Company will provide insurance for the average value of the consigned items. Well, I'm not sure what the average value is, since we're looking at values here that are estimated to be very significant. So I'm guessing that if we say the Fountain Elms 4-piece rosewood laminated parlor set valued between $40,000 and $60,000, I'm guessing that the average price on that's going to be $50,000.
Okay.
Kind of meet in the middle on those. We'll find out that tomorrow. But as promised, Fontaine's will get a 10% commission, and Ms. Hawthorne will get a 10% commission. The way it reads in our contract is Fontaine's will earn a 20% commission, but it does clearly state that 10% of that will go straight to Ms. Hawthorne.
Okay.
And she's done a great deal of work on this, and
I
I
was
think...
going to say, this has been a lengthy process, has
Right.
it not?
Yeah, and I think this is going in the right direction, though, because we want to go where we're going to get the greatest value for these items. Originally, we were going to go on a national website that sells furniture. It was decided by our staff and our consultant that that was going to cost quite a bit of money to list those items there, but not appeal to that. And it might sound like it's going the wrong direction, but Fontaine's is a national company, so they're going to appeal, though, to those people, and they know the people that like the items on this list. And by the way, there's 13 items on the list. Some of them are in sets, but they know the people that are interested in these things, and that will probably bid the most money for them. Hopefully that's the case. The items are scheduled to go to auction on February 21st, 2015 at the cataloged antique auction.
We're gonna take a break and come back to that or whatever. But stay with us right here on TSPN.
You're watching Amador County's local television network, TSPN.
First.
All right, everyone, and welcome back. We were still talking about the chairs.
Talking about the Rab Collins estate. And,
Right.
And by the way, these are items, they were all donated. Miss Collins' idea was for them to go into into our historical
Museum?
collection in the museum.
Right.
Unfortunately, we don't have room. Our museum is not big enough. I'm not sure, we get a lot of items.
I would think this sounds like a big table set, a big dining room set.
Right, and our staff and our consultant did consult with the historical staff, with the historical committee, and went through the items. At first, they wanted everything, and then they got to take a hard look at it and said, where are we going to put it? And some of these things really would be better off just sold and taken out of the county, because we don't have room. They wouldn't be properly taken care of. I'm talking atmospherically and things like that.
Right.
I mean, the people that are working on the museum, the Historical Society, are doing a fabulous job. But some of these items are better kept in a home where the temperature remains constant pretty much all the time.
Okay.
And some of these items they're smaller. They may not fit in the right place
The rooms in that museum aren't that big to dedicate maybe to.
Right,
I
and
get
like
that point. That's
Georgia
what you're
Fox
saying.
on the Historical Society, it breaks your heart to see some of these things go. But you only have room for so much, and that's what our consultant was trying to work with the Historical Society on and say what fits best in the museum. So this is going to be quite a bit of money that's going to come back to the county. There are issues at the museum that need fixing. Right now, they're They're trying to get rid of the porta potty and get a bathroom built there. They're trying to get the sewer line corrected, and basically that's going to have to be redone. All that takes money.
Right.
The proceeds from this can go into some of those projects that need to be funded.
Right, you have to choose some priorities.
Right.
there.
And the county doesn't have the money. That's why the Historical Society, Phil Giuliani and his whole doing a great job, but they don't have an endless supply of money either. So hopefully the county can recoup some of the costs that we've already put into this estate. It had to be stored for a lengthy period of time. It had to be transported. A lot of staff time was involved in it, but hopefully the majority of this money goes into the museum itself.
Okay, and I asked you off camera that this kind of thing doesn't happen very often in the county, where you get people willing artifacts
No,
like this, right?
I've been on the board for 14 years, and this is the first time that we've got a sizable collection like this. We do have people that donate an item here, an item there, a small collection. All those can go into our archives area and be taken care of. And things like paperwork that's donated, maps and things like that, need to go into a place like the archives,
Right.
where you have the proper temperature in there and can take care of them properly.
Okay.
So, last item up will be a big item. It's the Byrne Memorial Justice Assistance Grant, or what they call the JAG, the Justice Assistance Grant. This
Okay.
is money
Sounds
that
important.
comes from the federal level. It works its way down into our state and goes to the Board of State and Community Corrections. That was shifted a couple years ago, where they wanted to go into an organization to manage the money properly. So it went into what they call the BSCC. And the other acronym, funding historically went to a law enforcement for anti-drug abuse, ADA programs. Well, ADA means something different to us now. So this has new standards, new requirements. For our small county, for all small counties, there's a $220,000 max annually for small counties for 3 years. So that'll mean if you apply for and are awarded the $220,000 in the first year, you'll get it for the second year and the third year, as long as you perform, as long as you are able to come up with records to show them that you are doing what you said you're going to do with the money.
So is this money's like for, rather than making criminal offenses for certain drug use, to educate or re-educate people? Is that what this money is for?
It could be used for different things. There's 3 primary areas that they're talking about. First one is prevention and education
Okay.
programs, so that's pretty simple to understand.
right.
Stop the people from doing their actions before they take a negative action.
Would that money possibly go into the schools to do that, or?
Possibly,
Okay,
yes.
all right.
Second one is law enforcement programs, and the third is courts, prosecution, defense, and indigent defense programs. So the grant is designed for every one of those. Amador County Sheriff's Department is the lead agency on this. Jim Wagner, our undersheriff, is the one that actually proceeded with this. Now, I'm not sure, I can't tell you whether we got our initial submittal going to be a participant in this grant. That had to be done by October 3rd. But I see in the documentation here that whether you got that original request to them or not, you can still be part of the program. So failure to submit a notice of intent to apply is not grounds for disqualification. So
Okay.
I think we'll be okay there. A lot of different
So
things.
probably because of what the money can be used for, it seemed like a good idea for the Sheriff's Department to be the lead agency on this?
Well, Sheriff's Department, I can see the Probation Department.
Okay.
Who's going to be on this committee? People can volunteer to be on this committee. Primarily, you want people with law enforcement background, with social health and human services background, because a lot of the offenders now have mental health histories, and that's where we're seeing a lot of the problems, is we get the mental health people. Our county can deal with them, but you're better off dealing with that up front if you can. Deal with the mental health issues before they...
Because that's the
before they
underlying
go-
issue?
Yeah, before they go the wrong direction. And that's not the only issue, Tom.
Okay.
In the JAG rating, the priority purpose areas and priority areas of need, they're talking under the prevention and education programs for 1, gang initiatives, 2, juvenile delinquency, 3, substance abuse, and 4, school violence. So there you go. There's your school tie. Under the law enforcement programs, the gang violence reduction, violent crime reduction initiatives, drug enforcement, and gun violence reduction. And under the courts, prosecution, defense, and indigent defense, you have problem-solving courts, and that's specifically for mental health, veterans, drug, reentry. Number 2 is gun and gang prosecution. Tied with that was violent crime prosecution and defense. And then you had 2 tied at the end, court-based restorative justice initiatives and initiatives in indigent defense. So
And,
all of those areas.
We need to leave, but tell us once again, how much monies were we talking about possibly coming back?
$220,000 if we get all of it, if we qualify for all of it with our application. The one thing I'm going to ask our undersheriff specifically, it talks about the guiding principles. Well, one of them is reducing racial and ethnic disparity. And it talks about black youth were 4 times as likely to be arrested, Latinos twice as likely to be arrested. Obviously, those are problems in big cities and where they have inner cities. We don't have that kind of problem here. Are we going to be penalized because we don't have those, the ability to really reduce the racial and ethnic disparity? I don't think so, but we'll talk about that.
That's an issue in itself. Okay, Richard, thanks for coming by.
Okay, Tom.
And make a meeting if you can and are interested. And I'm Tom Slivick. Thanks for watching TSPN. We'll see you again next time.
You're watching Amador County's local television network, TSPN.